Hey everyone, LEGO just revealed a new Marvel set, and we have to talk about it. Initially, I was really excited for this set, but LEGO really dropped the ball. It had a really promising idea, but they just couldn't execute it at all. This set is the 76323 Avengers Endgame Final Battle. I mean, just look around. I'm not sure what the idea was behind this set. It just looks like a huge mess. This set just didn't seem to know what it wanted to be. The builds are really just nothing. It's a bunch of random plates laid down. And at that, it's really ugly as it's this gross combination of black, gray, brown. The only little bit of color you have here is the A from the Avengers compound, and then there are a bunch of Doctor Strange's portals included as well, which I guess I kind of like the idea of it, but not really. It doesn't execute well at all. I mean, looking at it, it just looks like a complete mess. I think a couple would have been good, but there's just way too many here. It feels like they're trying to justify this price point. On these portals, there's a lot of pieces to connect to, and set up your figures so it looks like they're coming through the portals, just like in the movie. And that actually is a really cool idea. Unfortunately, it just doesn't really work. Again, there's just too much going on here. It looks really messy. Not to mention, this just doesn't seem like a display set, so having all these elements that kind of cater towards display doesn't really make sense to me. As this type of build really screams playset to me, and that's what they should have focused on more. If your build is just going to be the terrain of a battle, then you have to have a ton of play features included, hidden all around. That's what I want to see. Some way to recreate this battle. I mean, clearly that's what the set's focused on, as it has so many minifigures. But that's just not what they did. From what I can tell, there's only one play feature included with this build, and that's this little rock that can come up right next to Thanos. I don't know, I hardly even count that as a play feature. However, it's the best they got. I mean, more stuff like that would have made the set semi-decent from the play side of things. I don't know if there's any way to salvage this looks-wise. I think they really would have had to done an overhaul and a completely different style of build. I definitely think it was possible though. Like, they could have done something similar to the old Duel on Mustafar set with the little stick figures that you could kind of float around and fight with. Some kind of gimmick to make the set actually seem fun and worth it, as right now you're really just paying for a bunch of blank plates. When talking about the builds in the set though, there is one last thing I have to mention, and that is the mech for Ant-Man. I guess I don't know if I should call it a mech, as it's technically him, but just bigger, as I'm assuming that's supposed to represent him when he goes jumbo size. And if that's the case, I guess it works, but I don't know. I think it's just a poor representation of it. I think doing something like printing a giant minifigure would have been a lot cooler. However, let's move away from these builds, as I could talk about how bad this is all day. I really want to get to the good stuff, which is the minifigures. You get 9 of them and then the one big fig Thanos. So 10 total figures in a $100 set isn't bad at all. This is kind of just a big battle pack, and for that I actually really enjoy it. I'm not going to say it redeems those builds, but as far as the minifigures are concerned, this set is awesome. You get a bunch of big name characters from that battle. Starting with Iron Man, who looks terrific in his nano suit. Those leg prints are phenomenal. The gold arms are the cherry on top too. They just look so great. I think altogether it's a very nice figure. Then the Scarlet Witch looks pretty great as well. Nothing too spectacular there, but a nice figure. Black Panther is pretty nice. I would have liked to see leg printing on him. And the same can be said for Ant-Man. Both those figures look nice, but they definitely needed some leg prints. And that's kind of a common theme in this set. I feel like a lot of these characters are lacking those leg prints. Including the next one, Captain America. As when you compare it to that super detailed torso, the legs just look so bare. It doesn't ruin the figure, but it definitely doesn't help. One extra thing I wanted to note about Cap is that his shield, they actually included as the cracked version, which is really neat. Of course it's the same piece, but you just have a half print, which is fine, that makes sense. That's the easiest way to do it. A new mold would have been cooler, of course, but this works, I guess. Albeit it's kinda lazy. The Falcon is also included, and while he's got a lot of gray going on, it does have some really great detailing. His face, though, I think is the best part of this minifigure. Those red goggles really pop on his face. I'm not a big fan, though, of those stud shooter blasters he's carrying around. I guess it's kind of fun to play with, but as far as looks go, not the best. Our next minifigure is the Iron Spider, and he has some dual molded legs, which is neat. And he has some dual molded legs to talk about, as well as those Iron Spider legs on his back. One thing I don't like though is the face print underneath. I don't know why, but this just does not look like Tom Holland at all. It looks like a generic Peter Parker that we'd see from the comic books or any TV show or anywhere. So I'm not going to say it looks bad, but it definitely doesn't look like Tom Holland. Our last hero included is easily the best. Doctor Strange looks phenomenal in this set. They just have a great look for him down. The molded cape is the perfect choice for him. I'm normally a much bigger fan of cloth over these molded capes, but in this case it works extremely well. Then the detailing all the way down is phenomenal with that sling ring on his hip. Every detail is in place and looks perfect. Then finally our last minifigure is just one Chitauri soldier, which is the normal one we've been seeing for quite some time, and it's good but nothing exciting to talk about. Then finally the 10th figure is the Big Fig Thanos. I really love the gold printing on his chest, and the legs are a little bare, but it works for a Big Fig. These guys kind of play by different rules, and in all honesty, Big Figs are just fun to talk about. I will admit his sword though is really small. It's kind of a weird choice, the piece they used for it, as it's been made many different ways in the past, and this has to be the worst iteration. It's just so small that it just doesn't work. So now that I've gone through it all and kind of thought about it more, do I still hold that same opinion of it being a bad set? Yeah, I do. I think they just didn't try, and that's what's really annoying. I feel like they phoned it in. If they would have kept this same build but just scaled it down by like half and gave us a much cheaper set at maybe $60, I would have been much more okay with it because it would have been just like getting a huge minifigure pack, and that would have been great. And then at that lower price, the bad build wouldn't have been a big of a deal. But it is a big deal. Because at $100, I want something that looks good, not just some hunk of junk that a 3-year-old could build. This is honestly just so disappointing, and it matches the current state of Marvel right now. I would wait to pick up this set because it's probably going to get some hefty discounts. And at a lower price, I could definitely see it being worth it. At $100 though, no way. Alright, and that's pretty much all I have to say on this set. If you guys have different thoughts or if you agree, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about this set because it's something different, alright. If you want to see more content like this, make sure to like and subscribe for more. And until next time, I'll see you guys later.